And in times of crisis like we are witnessing today, entities like myself are being downloaded into the equation to bring true what is termed the promised land, because it will come true. And I can see so many entities these days moving into emotional tension and bringing a lot of disgrace to their mentality, emotional bodies, and their spirit, because it has been cut down so much. So here, let me explain myself a bit more. I'm actually a spiritual activist. I am a spiritual initiator and a high-level universal healer that brings through techniques and applications that are hardly known on the earth plane. So let's look at a different angle in economics. Let's look at a different angle in your health industry, your personal health, and how that came into manifestation actually, because individual health is all that matters. And the first item in individual health is actually the collapsing of your breath, your breathing system, which we know, but that can be repaired in a short, very short amount of time. And when you do so, you can keep up with that. The only thing that stands in the way actually is that people lost their belief, they lost their trust, they lost their peace, because in, let's say, in the older world, we will never go back there, of course, hopefully not, because there was nothing in it that sustained and supported human health actually. And thus it's time to say goodbye and see the beauty of what is happening actually on the airplane, and that is opening people up far beyond the awakening into their true authentic self, their essence, which is pure light consciousness. So I've been really educating myself and people to get back into their origin, their life streams that comes from light consciousness, and so we can override any density within the brain, within the body, and realign to the highest level of remembrance, because every entity on the earth plane is meant to be here at this time, and a lot of entity needs to go at this time. And I'm talking here about people that are completely not open to anything termed education and re-education in self, re-educating your light body and learning to work with it. Because if we want to create the promised land again with all that fog, all that density, all these toxins in the world that created or diseases, then there's a lot of work to do, and that can only come through to taking responsibility in the community and having the knowledge, the intelligence, the trust factors to do so. If we don't have that, we cannot come up with a plan that really works. So community building is number one. Teaching is, of course, the highest level. We need to bring through and assist people while learning it ourselves. So I can see a lot of falseness and information on YouTube about what light body is, what a chakra system is, what your energy wheels are about. It's all old stuff. We are moving into a realm of light and light construction that moves from the inside out, that generated back in the times from the 12 tribes of Israel, which have become the 12 teams of light that are grounding here, that are high-level spirits and entities that are right now assisting the repair. So there is no such a thing as going back to the old economics and all these stress factors, that tension, these demanding jobs. But then again, I do understand a lot of people are in such a high level of pain this time around, and pain because mentality and emotion always generates back into the old, like I lost my job, I don't know how to get by right now, I don't know how to catapult myself yeah, over the rainbow, so to speak. And it's actually not about, so to speak, it's about doing it and expecting the healing within, and so investing in self as well. So because many people as well are being confronted this time around with everything they have actually been avoiding in their life and putting it aside. There is no such a thing but upgrading into spirit. So imagine the planet, if everybody would leave the planet at this time around, then the earth would repair just in a split shift of seconds, so to speak, but that would go very rapidly because the earth has a natural mechanism to repair. So if we look at what we killed, and if we look at our foods today and how that kills our immune system, how that kills our nervous system, how that kills our emotions, our mental body, our spiritual body, and that fogs the food we're eating, fogs the brain. So of course your spirit eye is closed off, not to speak about the physical eyes that are completely closed off. So here, let's say about 40% of the biology has been killed. Look at the oceans, the animal kingdoms, and so the only repair there is that we gather together and create communities while we communicate with communities within a community. And that can only be done in the hood. And I suggest here that coming up with a plan to repair or create at least forest gardens in the cities, in the middle of the cities, and so come up with a plan and just suggest it to the mayor, suggest it to university or anything that is available in your current living standards in your city. So if we look at a human system that has only 20,000 genes, I suppose, and we look at how we need parasites and viruses and fungi to bring balance in our system, while we cannot breed that anymore to the level it is needed because it's being killed, then we need to realize that these fungi and genomes and parasites have more than 20 million genes. If you compare that with the human body, like about 20,000, then that's almost nothing. So imagine and think on the higher level of your capacity, that how easy it will be if the human organic construction, the human organize, can just reorganize. And that is what this life is about. Reorganize when fusing with the organism of the earth. But I wouldn't want to fuse right now. Still, there are places, and in your home you can repair your square meters into the highest level of light, and then it can be done. And so it can be done for farmers. Look at how these farmers are suffering from Monsanto and other chemicals, and look at how they cannot even go back because they have so much debts in the banks. Well, they won't, they will, they are willing to go back. They experience a big crusade in their own families. They are watching their children and teenagers suffering from chemical diseases, bloated eyes, blue spots all over the body from the chemicals, just to make their crop work, and so we can eat the crap. Don't you think they are suffering? I mean, they have been set up for many years so people can repair very, very quickly, because we have that within us. It's just about taking the option to do that, set our light back in, and assist the communities to rebuild real foods. We need to move beyond the plastic of foods, otherwise, I mean, the body is going to collapse anyways. The earth is ascending, and so that is when I pop up. I offer seminars, I will offer workshops, I offer healing. I mean, there is, regarding, if we look at, there's about 5 million different sorts of fungi, there's about 2,000 sorts of parasites. That is massive. I mean, we need to repair that, and we need to really protect ourselves from the former physicians. So I can see how new futuristic spiritual scientists are popping up, spiritual doctors are popping up. They're not having the knowledge yet, maybe about the breath of light, the breath of life, the eternal immortal breaths that are coming true, which is our purity or essence, so we can breathe many miles ahead and bring that breath to the body, which is the initiation and becoming the eternal healer yourself, which I teach as well. So we can actually heal everything inside out should we take that responsibility, and that is what I am about. And so our biology is the results of genomes and stuff, and so colors or frequency through light installation integrations. I'm working with those authenticity upgrades of vibration on an everyday level. And so I mean, we need to move from crisis into flawless victory, and it's up to us. We cannot depend on governments any longer. We need to come up with new plans. So it's no use looking or listening to the news anymore. We do know how big the manipulation is there, and we need to trust ourselves in the first place, and moving beyond the fear factors that are so painful, because fear is actually created by stepping into the soul level that is actually ego. And all these levels in ego, like the lower emotional levels, when they have been released in the body, you just vibrate inside out, and you would understand that economics are going a big different way. So it's up to us to create sparkling new jobs and come up with these ideas and present these ideas and attract the right people at the right time. And that is all about learning to manifest. So I'm writing a book about how you can bring the ancient original technique back and manifesting that self. But do know there is no rhyme before it's time. So when releasing that old stuff in the body, we can rise big time. And so we really need to bring that light back in. As a healer on a high level, there is so much I can do when Lawrence is there. I had the experience the other day, like a client of mine was calling in, and he was overstressed, and he went to the hospital in the emergency room, and they put all sorts of stuff on his body to assist his breathing. Nothing to do with the virus, just the stress. And so his heart was near to getting a stroke. And I said, no problem. Just come on in. I'll get you straight within half an hour. And he came on in, and so I can see within people's brains, like, I see all these light waves, these stress syndromes, the dark spots moving in, as I work with light waves all of the time. And I work with formulas that the universes and spirit guides are bringing through, like symbolism and wording. And so I opened the entire blood circulation. I first cleansed the circulation of the blood, and I put in a pacemaker into his heart with my hands, spiritual surgery actually, or engineering if you like. And opening that, like these eyes were almost closed, so I opened that, and the circulation of the eyes, circulation of the brain, I went to all the glands in the body. And after half an hour or 45 minutes, that particular person stood up, and he was like so amazed, like, what the hell is happening? And these eyes were opening up. You know, many people move into very puffy eyes. They're not open at all because of the foods, because of alcohol, because of drugs, because of so many factors, especially foods. And he said, I never felt such a grace, such a peace, just in half an hour time. And so I took off all that machinery on his body from the hospital because he felt, I mean, he had an immediate result in his body, and he saw it. He was looking at himself, even his skin changed, and that was such a big, beautiful result. So as I teach that as well, it is I learn people also how to become independent. Getting courses and getting to know that is really getting to teach yourself how to become such a special person that can bring special healing techniques through, because we are reaching that level right now, and it is perfectly timed that we move out of the old light body, old light infusions, old chakra system, old everything, and that goes with the old way of living, of course. And so hopefully my message reaches you, because if I see these people, I do my healings over Skype, and I go right into your consciousness, I go right in your anatomy, and you can feel that. You can feel light flowing through, and so you can expect big changes, because it's my specialty. And then I will move in to the lungs, clearing the lungs, but especially I go into the psychology, which is more important than anything else. I can see or feel immediately where your psychology went downwards, where your mentality was cut off to the outside factors. And so I detect what is most important for you to release, and I immediately get new codes to get that out of your glands. And so you come into a refreshment mode, like your life actually starts over again. And then depending on what happens, I can direct you into upgrades and how to hold on to that. And I will also, of course, address your diet, how to hold on with smaller steps. I will address your fitness level. I will address your relationships in the first place, always in every session, because I need to know what your job is about, either if you work at home or you don't have a job, what people you come into contact. But anyways, you cannot lie to me, because if you work from a universal, from the celestial universal in the only beyond, and you get that information down, my information just flows out of my mouth, and I know it's very correct. And that is great, because I do not confront people. I just tell them, like, this is really happening. And because most of the time people are not conscious, and so they're so happy that it pops out of their brain, ready to delete, ready to evaporate, ready to release. And then you get into that high level peace factor, which is a necessity. And because peace allows you to move back in believing the universe, and believing your origin, believing your true light essence, And then once we get that, we move out of the largest level that is running rampant on the airplane, and that is actually laziness. Laziness to take responsibility to create a light body, initiate self into at least the setup of the 12 universes in the chakra system. So you learn to work with consciousness, color encoded consciousness, which is very important. So you learn, like, if you want peace, you need to know how to work with a blue way. If you want more knowledge, you need to know how to work with a green way. If you want more action and balance, you will apply the red way and the gold ways. Actually, the gold moves you out of the old, and that old tension especially. So there is so much we can do, really opening the breath to the higher level and moving into the gold streams. That is all working with ley lines in the body, because most people over here on the planet right now have been working with installing the ley lines for many decades now. And so this lifetime is the final culmination and opening your true essence back to the origin and planting that on the airplane, because the airplane ain't going anywhere. We are repairing the Garden of Eden. And if we look at the Garden of Eden these days on the airplane, it is filled with poison and toxins. So how do you want to repair your Garden of Eden in the sacral center? And reason why the sacral center goes with a lot of diseases, and especially where the hormonal system is completely off. This time around, take notice that young girls, I mean ages 22 to 30, their fertility system is cut off for 60%, and that is running rampant. That is one on 4 girls where the fertility system does not work, and that all can be repaired in no time, which is actually working with the oceans, with the water gates on the planet, and knowing which one to apply. And that is opening the entire spinal column to a new gate where you don't get pregnant, for example, unexpectedly, and that stuff. And certainly not get into the drugs of that, but have that self-reorganization, self-regulating system in, or which is actually the regeneration of the. But the first thing in healing or going to a doctor in the future should be the healing of your breath and getting all these dark spots out of the body. So imagine what we will meet. So if you can learn it right now, that is be great.